welcome back to another Dinkum video. I hope you guys are doing well. This time around, we're going to just explore some space filling design ideas and then maybe build something together at the end. I get asked questions a lot about, how did I think of this idea? Where did this come from? How did you do it? And so much of my stuff is inspired by real life places, or I look up idea pictures. Sometimes it just comes from the top of my head. But I think for people who struggle with, trying to figure out what to do, looking up photos and trying to emulate as best you can is my best advice for you. Because if you can practice something that's already designed, then your mind starts to kind of get trained for that as well. So let's go take a look at a few places that might give you some ideas on what to do on your Dinkum Island. Not every space has to be some gigantic build filled with all kinds of things. Sometimes simple can be best, and some people just don't have the time or the patience for any elaborate design. So something like this for a bandstand area. Well, hey there, Sheila, how's it going? Would be absolutely perfect. Not very big area, just big enough for the bandstand, and then a little space here for some seating. What I did here was, I put out some benches and some planters, but I also put out the water boxes and put lily pads in them as like little bitty tiny water features. I'm not the first person to think of that, but I did think that it really was something a little different that didn't look exactly the same as everything else. And then framed it out with some hedging and trees. Nothing super special here. This was built way back when, even before the spring update had come out. So there's a few new items here, but not many. And then I did update some things as we got new updates. But yeah, this is a small, very feasible build for a bandstand area. Just enough for your bandstand, maybe frame it out with some planter boxes and some flowers. And then you can create a lovely little seating area right next to it, because this is where everybody comes from town and celebrates the big Dinkum Island Day. We don't have to go far for the next space. Over here is just this little courtyard kind of in the town center. It's sunken down. I'm not sure why I did that. I just thought, this will be different. It puts it a little bit lower. And you've got, again, plants and the fountain, a lot of the older items in the game that have been around a while. Not very big. I think it's like an 8x8 space, maybe 10x10, but I think it's 8x8. So you don't have to have a lot of room to do something small and make it look pretty. A lot of actual towns have these little courtyard areas that are little parks that serve as both beautification and practicality. So again, looking up pictures of ideas and things from your own town can help you really jumpstart your creativity and build something beautiful on your island. One of my mottos here in Dinkum is when in doubt, just add flowers and bushes. And this is what I did with Rayne's area on this particular island space. We just really vomited up a bunch of plants. To some people, this might look messy, but to others, I feel like this is definitely exactly what Rayne would have. Just a very wild and natural looking space with as many flowers that grow native to the area, as well as other fauna and flora that just kind of makes a greenhouse area look like a greenhouse. It's probably a little overgrown. I should probably do some selective weeding out of things. But again, this area was built months ago with just the older items in the game. For those of you who are just starting out, this is a great example of what you can use in early game, what you might have access to create, a lovely little space. For some people, this may be too messy, and I totally understand that. But for others, if you don't know what to do, let the natural plants just grow up around the area, and it looks like it was done intentionally. It looks like something you would see in a greenhouse, by putting some other items out, like flower pots and pedestals and planters, and here's a well. You really just add to that whole idea that you are in a nursery or you're at a greenhouse where lots of beautiful flowers are being grown and used throughout the decorating on your island. Again, this could totally be updated. I kind of like that this island showcases a lot of the old early game things. And, if you're just starting out in the game, this is definitely super attainable for you to do. One thing we have in Dinkum is an abundance of fruit trees. Well, I think it's an abundance. I know maybe 5 different types of trees is not that big of a thing to some people, but I do like putting them in an organized way. And so when I was making my orchard for this island, I decided to surround each tree with some planter boxes and corresponding colored flowers just to really pop and make a rainbow of color. Just another thing to kind of add some, you know, semblance of order and thought while still looking very natural and cultivated. I like putting boxes around trees. I see that a lot in real life in a lot of parks and different places like that. And I just was like, we'll try that here. You don't have to do it quite like this. In fact, if you bury these boxes down in the ground, you'll definitely see more of the tree. I just chose this method because I wanted it to kind of look like it was part of the farm, part of the nursery that's just right over there. This was just going to be, something that looked like, hey, that's where we grow the fruit, but we also grow flowers over here. It all kind of symbiosis connects together, as part of the working farm. And it's something you can do if you're trying to make a grove of trees on your own island. Or you can mix it up and do it a little differently. I like doing something like this rather than just planting rows of trees. I feel like it gives a lot more visual interest. So hopefully this will give you some jumping off point for your own orchards on your islands. No Dinkum Island is complete without a John's Goods Marketplace. This little area was built with my dear friend, Rainy Days and Rainbows. She helped me completely redesign John's area almost a year ago. It's kind of hard to believe that time has flown so quickly. But I wanted to really show off, hey there, this Rue's just coming to make friends with us. I really wanted to show off this area right here in the middle. Mostly because I thought this was really great. We just saw the orchard with a bunch of planter boxes around the trees, but I really like what she did here in putting rocks around this central tree, raised it up a block, kind of gave it some elevation, and then put rocks around it, and then planted flowers in the circumference around that as well. I really love this. This is not something I had thought of before, and this is why I love having other people come, because then they add their ideas to the designs that I have on my island, and it just makes it so much better. Such a cute little spot if you're kind of struggling for what to do with John's. Put out a bunch of market stalls and all the things that you would think that he would sell in his shop. But I do like having this little central decor feature that kind of gives you some shade, also something pretty to look at, and serves to show off and kind of have a highlight of this little spot that you would not normally think twice about, perhaps. I do really like how we ended up doing this, and if you want to see more on the process, there's a video on the channel that you can go take a look at. All towns need a sign to let your guests know exactly where they're at when they're coming over to visit. I did a video not too terribly long ago where I redid this whole little entranceway. My airship dock is right here. So when you come to your new Dinkum Island, you're brought by airship. Of course, when your visitors come, they come out of town hall, but we were going with our imaginations here, and I knew I wanted a water feature, and using these concrete letters and all the flowers. And I think that that's a really small space utilization and design that you can do to not only show everybody what the name of your island is, but also make something super pretty to look at, and give yourself a water feature on top of that. For all those who are more nature oriented when it comes to their building and decorating in their Dinkum space, waterfalls. With the addition of water boxes to the game, there opened up so many extra possibilities when it came to making these beautiful waterfall spaces. You just start dirt printing and adding water boxes and adding rocks, and take things away and use a picture if you need to see if, to give you some inspiration to see if you're going in the right direction. This was just haphazardly built, and I dirt printed, and then I took things away, and then I added a here and there, and don't forget to put in bushes and flowers and trees to really give it that boost of natural that natural look that, all typically waterfalls have. You don't want it to look too terribly man-made. So randomness is definitely the key. Again, also, here's another area where I just let the plants grow up and go wild, and I didn't mow. And I thought that, it really added to the whole tropical feel. And this is really a nice focal point for pictures on my island. And I challenge you to start small and then go bigger. It just takes a lot of trial and error. It's never going to look great that first time around. But, as you work it, it does come together. And using all these elements, bushes, trees, plants, rocks, lily pads, putting things in the water, using the water beds, the more you play around with it, the more surprised you'll be about how amazing it will look. This next space was inspired by Jersey Games. It was actually the very first thing I ever saw him build about a year ago. I came across a video of this beautiful garden that he had created, and the spring update I think had just come out, and I thought, this is amazing, and I've got to do something like that in my space. It is a variation on his design. I did things a little differently. I had, I think, a little bit more room to work with, so I definitely really went all out here. I love the way this turned out. It's like a Grecian garden almost, but I named it a meditation garden, just one of those tranquil, like reflective places you go to and just enjoy the scenery and the wildlife and listen to the water trickle. You've got a waterfall back here, and then you've got this beautiful, reflecting pond. There's a place down in Houston, Texas that this kind of reminds me of. So again, a lot of my stuff is based off of real life places. This was just, believe it or not, it's very simple. You just dig out a space, you put some water boxes down, you trim it out with some tile, and then you start adding decor. I'm a trial and error kind of person when it comes to decorating. Let's try it out, see what it looks like, and then if we don't like it, get rid of it. Again, a lot of this stuff was just released in the spring update almost a year ago, so I have not done any updating to this particular island really with any of the new things that have come out recently. But I do think that this is a space, if you need a bigger idea, if you have a bigger space you're trying to fill, you can't really go wrong with any kind of a water feature, and you could do something very similar to this. And if you need a tutorial and step-by-step on how this is made, Jersey Games has got you covered. No Dinkum Island is complete without some kind of cafe in order to sit and drink some coffee and hang out by the river away from the crocos. I built this over in my marketplace area. It's a little coffee shop slash cafe of some kind, whatever you want to imagine. It is elevated up a little bit so you can get better views of the river, and then you've got this wonderful little river walkway all around it. Blocked off so that way you're safe from all the things that could possibly come and attack you, at least from the river anyway. I would suggest that, making something like this doesn't take a lot of effort. You can utilize those market stalls that I think we all love, and the umbrellas, and create little seating spaces. Really cute little idea, and you don't even have to make it this big. This can be sized up or down depending on the space and your needs. But again, very helpful to have if you need to put something over by the Tucker box. Even if you wanted to decorate the area around your Tucker box to have an outdoor seating area, this could definitely serve that purpose. And here we've made it to the California side of my Dinkum Island on this particular playthrough. I utilize pictures in real life places, and my family has vacationed in Los Angeles on several occasions. And I had a picture of us at the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and I thought when we got all the new wonderful things in the spring update, this red carpet and this rope fencing and a few other things, that it would be absolutely perfect to try to replicate Grauman's Chinese Theater. And this is the result. I tried to mimic the space as best I remember, and the pictures that I had. There's a lot of vendors out here in front selling knickknacks and souvenirs, and pictures with people dressed up like celebrities. And, the tile on the floor, this is the place where all the actors' hands and footprints are in the cement. And I tried to mimic that best I could with this patterned stone. You just kind of have to use your imagination. And then back here behind the theater, my friend Sunny Ann built a back lot. That is very popular in a lot of movie making, and I thought this was really cute. It kind of looks like, you know, a neighborhood or something you'd see in a movie lot set. And it really came together very nicely. And, you know, this is where utilizing actual real life places and pictures from your vacations can help you out in creating a beautiful space on your island. We can't talk about Grauman's Chinese Theater without talking about the Griffith Observatory build. Obviously, if you've been to Los Angeles, this is definitely one of those places that, you know, gets a lot of, it's a huge tourist attraction. And I tried to build it as close to the actual design of the building as I could get. And this is definitely a very big space build. So, you know, this is something you can graduate up to. But the building itself is very simple. It's not a very elaborate, you know, architectural building. It looks like I've missed a few spots mowing. Well, let's not pay attention to that. And then, of course, because you can see this from the Griffith Observatory, we also built the Hollywood sign. Again, just utilizing actual real life places and vacation spots that I have been to and my own photos to create spaces on my island that are not only nostalgic and mean something to me, but also look really cool when my guests come over and they're like, I can't believe you did that. You take a look at any photo of Griffith Observatory, the Hollywood sign, or Grauman's Chinese Theater. Let me know if you think I got pretty close. I had a lot of fun building these. It's a lot of fun remembering the times that we went and the memories that my family and I shared in these spaces. If you're a longtime fan of the channel, you'll know that the coffee shop became a thing when I did a collaboration with Jersey Games. We created the very first coffee shop franchise, and here we are on my island with the second flagship store. This is definitely something that's become very popular within the community, and I have gone to so many different people's islands and built a coffee shop. This is definitely something you could do. Again, a little bit bigger, a little bit more intermediate level when it comes to designing and building. But I do have tutorials on my channel where you can go and build along with me, step-by-step process of this very building, or one very similar to it, I should say. It's got many levels. Of course, you don't have to do anything this elaborate. I would suggest just build the building and then maybe put a few chairs and tables outside right next to it, and then you can expand as necessary. This here was added on after the fact. I think I actually have a video of me designing this, a speed build. You've got this beautiful back patio area that overlooks the river/ocean, perhaps, whatever y'all want to call that. And I thought that would be perfect to fill in this space back here. A very big flagship coffee shop store on this island has, you know, needs a big outdoor seating spot. So yeah, if you are looking for something to challenge you, you can definitely go check out the Build Along With Me video where you can build your own coffee shop and put something like this on your island, maybe in your downtown area. And for me, there's no coffee shop complete without some books. And I built this with Sunny Ann, my best building buddy and my first channel member, one of my first channel members anyway. She and I built this after a stream one day, just something quick. I wanted something to pair with the coffee shop. And again, this is very easy, very simple. Throw it together, you know, you dirt print, you throw some blocks down, you get some planters with some flowers, some bookshelves, bookcases, you know, really just put things down, look at them, move them around, see what you like. I thought it paired very well with the coffee shop. Right across the street, you need some books, and go for it, you know. And then there's obviously a little seating area back here. There's so many new things in the game now that you can do instead of this vine wall. There are climbing vines now that you can utilize and make these blank walls look a little bit more visually appealing. Yeah, this is a dirt printed building that I made, and there's a similar tutorial also on the channel if you want to follow along with that and use this on your island somewhere. Speaking of books, have you ever thought to put a library on your island? I decided to go with something a little different and do an octagonal shaped building. And I created a design in the floor. I don't know, I've never done that before, and I just like, for one thing, how it looks on the map, but also how it looks just inset with all this wood and brick. We've got these really lovely bookcases in the game. And I was like, I would love to build a library. Reading is a huge part of my life. I read a lot of books. every year. I've been reading since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And, you know, these kinds of things kind of mean something special to me. And so probably every Dinkum Island I have is going to have some kind of library or bookshop or something to do with books, just because it's such a big part of my life. This particular build also has a speed build, I think, tutorial on my channel. So you can go check that out if you wanted to kind of follow along. But I really like this open air feel. I'm curious to see what kind of things James will add in the future, that maybe we can put roofs on these dirt printed walls and see what we can do with all of that. But yeah, I hope you guys consider putting a library on your Dinkum Island. There are so many different ones out there. There's so many different ways you can do the decorating outside. I really love utilizing trees and bushes and flowers. And because I had created this octagonal shape, you've got this, you know, super geometric outside. And look, the roos have left us presents. Yeah, no Dinkum Day is complete without roo poo everywhere. So yeah, nothing very fancy here. I know some people are like, yeah, this is super fancy, but I promise you, if you just start playing around with things, it will come together. And I will preach this till the day I die. Pull up any kind of inspo picture and use that as the guide on how to build things on your island. And then that will train your eye and your brain on how to do it yourself in the future. And last but not least for this video is this area called the Condos. I have not yet figured out how to do this sign, so it's just on the ground. It's nothing special. Maybe I'll do a small build on how to make this look really cool and make it pop. And I have yet to connect it to the rest of my walkway over there. So that could be a transitional space video we do together. When I got the idea for this, I absolutely fell in love. It's still one of my favorite things, one of my favorite builds. I built this sort of like Floridian retirement community area with these wonderful little condos. With these little covered porch areas outside. They each have a name that corresponds to the color. It's bright, it's colorful, it's rainbows. They each have like little backyards. Again, you don't have to do this entire neighborhood. You could just do one house. And this is also part of my Build Along series, Build Along with Me, where I do a step-by-step tutorial on how to build this exact building on your island. So it's not impossible, I promise. But it's really, I don't know, this is still one of my favorite builds of all time. Even over the Grand Canyon, even over all the California stuff. This was something I truly did out of my imagination. No pictures used on this one, and I feel pretty proud about that. Not that there's anything wrong with utilizing photos to build some things, because I think that's really the way you get to a point where you can create your own stuff without having to look at something as a reference. Hey, look, it's a huntsman spider. I wish, well, now that we can build a little higher in the game, I might come back and make this second level a little taller. So that way it's a little easier seen from the road. Again, didn't do such a great job in my mowing, but you know, hey, it's fine. That's real life, right? But yeah, if you want to check out how to build this particular little condo on your island, you can check out the channel in my Build Along with Me series, and it'll give you step-by-step instructions, dimensions, and a grid on how many tiles you dirt print up. I had this little pond here, and that was the inspiration. I was like, I have this pond, I'm going to shape it, and then I can build all these little houses and create this little retirement community over here on my island. Well, folks, I hope this inspired you and gave you some ideas on what to do with your Dinkum spaces, and different ideas, small, medium, and large, and with different, building levels in terms of what your skill, or if you're just beginning in Dinkum, you know, some of the items, some of the recipes you may have not acquired yet. And so therefore, you know, I hope I included enough of a wide variety of things that you can utilize to make your spaces absolutely beautiful and look like they came out of the pages of some sort of design magazine. Thanks for coming along with me on some of these little spots that I have designed on my island. It was fun to kind of revisit these. I haven't actually been on this island in quite a while, and so some of this stuff was kind of new to me, and in a way I haven't seen it in such a long time. So yeah, I hope that you guys were inspired. I cannot wait to see what you build. Make sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe if you've enjoyed this content, and come on over to my Discord and show off pictures of the things that you build that you were inspired by. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, as always, and be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and I'll see y'all in the next one.